Chair, has the Minister been in contact with the new US administration under President Joe Biden in relation to the continued use of Shannon Airport for the facilitation of carriage of ammunition? I believe that 285 occasions in 2020 arms were transferred through the airport. Is this set to continue?
Deputy Minister.
Yeah, let me just sort of give you the regulations around this and then answer that direct question for you. First of all, the Air Navigation Carriage of Munitions of War, Weapons and Dangerous Goods Order 1973 prohibits the carriage of munitions of war through Irish airspace or Irish airports on civil aircraft unless an exemption has been granted by the Minister for Transport. Statistics on such exemptions are published on the Department of Transport's website. The process in place around the granting of such permission by the Minister for Transport is robust and includes seeking the advice of my department on any implications for Ireland's policy of military neutrality. Permissions are only granted where no such concerns arise. With regard to foreign military aircraft, permission must be sought from me in advance for landing. Such flights are routinely required to meet strict conditions to ensure compatibility with Ireland's policy of military neutrality, that the aircraft is unarmed, carries no arms, ammunitions or explosives, that it must not engage in intelligence gathering and does not form part of any military operation or exercise. The occasions that you refer to, Deputy, and I think you've suggested that there were over 200 occasions in 2020 where arms were transferred through the airport. That isn't quite the case. What these exemptions are about is for people, sometimes it's a personal protection detail, to carry light arms on their person. So, for example, when Secretary Blinken came through Shannon Airport a number of weeks ago when we met him, when Jake Sullivan came through Shannon Airport, they would have had security around them. They would have had bodyguards that would have been armed. In order for that to happen, they need to get an exemption for each of those security personnel if they were carrying a pistol on their person or whatever. So that's the exemption space we're talking about. We're not talking about carrying large volumes of munitions or arms through Shannon Airport in those exemptions. We're talking about light arms on their person, whether that's security personnel or whatever. So just to put that into context, when the exemptions are being applied for, and I checked this with our team just before answering this question because I wanted to be accurate. What we're talking about is the only exemptions that are granted are effectively light arms that are carried on person, which is not the same, obviously, as carrying large arms and munitions into a war setting. That isn't what's facilitated.
Thank you. Deputy.
Thank you, Minister. Munitions of war is a fancy term thought up by civil servants. It is basically another term for military weapons or ammunition. Why is neutral Ireland facilitating weapons of war going through the United States Shannon Airport? And you just clarified there a while ago that the exemptions have to go through the Minister for Transport if they go through. Nearly 300 such missions were facilitated by Shannon Airport through 2020. You're saying there a minute ago it was light arms. How many are being facilitated in 2021? Does the Minister personally have to sign off on each facilitation of arms of transport? And you said a minute ago it was the Minister for Transport, or is it the civil servants, or who? Because there is a damn huge amount of weapons going through Shannon Airport each week, I do believe.
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
It's important that we deal with the facts here now, rather than what people believe. In order for an aircraft which is carrying, it's a civilian aircraft carrying US military personnel to travel through Shannon Airport, if any of them are carrying arms on their person, there needs to be an exemption for that. There is no exemption to carry large munitions or arms for military operations or war. There isn't. The only exemptions here are for light arms that are carried on a person. If a senior US official is coming through Shannon Airport on a military aircraft, they are going to have a personal security detail with them. And there will be other cases where light arms are justified and carried. But that's a different thing to using Shannon Airport as a stopover to carry munitions or arms to a theatre of war. That doesn't happen. And I want to reassure people that it doesn't happen. That's certainly the information and the brief that I've got anyway. So this is about light arms that are on your person where there is a justifiable reason for that. No more or no less than that. And they are the exemptions that are considered by the Minister for Transport in consultation with my department, and those exemptions are given when appropriate.
Thank you. Deputy.
Flights with military personnel on board would also have their own military weapons on board. So if you've got a full flight of military personnel, that is a large volume of military weapons coming through an airport. Has there been any recent review of, has there been recent review of any possible international threat to Shannon Airport by those who may be enemies of the United States? Separately, we currently have Defence Force troops in Sahel region of Africa, where there is a serious outgoing conflict. Can the Minister offer sincere guarantees on the safety of these personnel, and why exactly are they there? Do our troops need to be there if there is a greater danger to their safety than in more proven peacekeeping missions?
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Sorry, well, I mean, they're two very different questions, but I think I've answered the first one. There aren't large-scale stocks of weapons travelling through Shannon Airport. There just aren't. Okay, the US use Shannon sometimes for refuelling to bring personnel from one part of the world to another, not with their weapons, no. When they seek exemptions, we are talking about light weapons, which are there for personal security reasons and so on. Not soldiers with their weaponry heading for parts of the Middle East or wherever. That's not how it is. Secondly, in relation to Mali, look, peacekeeping is dangerous. My job as Minister for Defence is, of course, to ensure that we look after the safety of our own personnel and our peacekeepers, that they're trained, they're equipped, and they're not put into a theatre of conflict where the risk profile hasn't been fully examined first. Mali is a dangerous part of the world. It's a very complex country. And that's why we're there, to try to help bring stability to the Sahel region and to Mali in particular. We are involved in two missions there. One is a UN mission, the other is an EU mission. The EU mission is a training mission where our Defence Force personnel are by and large training Malian troops to protect themselves and their people. The second is a UN mission where we have an Army Ranger Wing element to that, because it's a complex mission. My understanding is they're doing an excellent job and they're managing the risk appropriately.
Thank you. So that concludes priority.